Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages and denominations, welcome to the wrestling show that puts you in the know. Loudmouth presents Off the Top Rope. Now, of course, before we begin, we have to pay the rent. Follow us on all our social medias. WAWSA on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And Puma Copper TV on all of their social medias as well. And as well, don't forget to follow myself, the Loudmouth, on all my social medias: TikTok, Instagram, and on Facebook, the Loudmouth Appreciation Society. We've got one of the internet darlings of professional wrestling in South Africa on the show today. Joshua the Bull has been featured in so many newspaper articles and on radio and things like that. I can hardly keep up. We are going to speak to the master of social media in South African professional wrestling. We're going to ask him how he gets so many followers, how he lands up in the newspaper sometimes, and all of his little tricks about fitness, professional wrestling, and of course, the Arnold Trophy, which he currently holds. Stick around, and after the break, Joshua the Bull. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. Before we left, of course, follow us on all the social medias. The prompts were out there. But just to remind you, WAWSA on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and Puma Kappa TV on all their social medias, and of course, your boy, the Loudmouth, on the Loudmouth Appreciation Society on Facebook. Now, sitting with us, we have Joshua the Bull. And when I tell you his internet presence is huge, huge. Joshua, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Donovan. Welcome, everybody.
Josh, when I say you're a social media darling, it is not an exaggeration. Just this week, you've sent another newspaper article of you being in a newspaper promoting Wrestle Monster 7 and promoting yourself. How do you do it?
Like most of the time, whenever I feature in the newspaper, is actually my achievements.
Mhm.
Like the local newspaper have been following all my movements in the wrestling world. So they pretty much know exactly what I'm getting up to and which show I'm actually wrestling at next.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I mean, it is, it's wholesome. It's not, there's not controversy around the newspaper articles or your social media and everything like it. It's always about something positive about you. Is that something that you are very conscious of, or is it just something that's in your nature? You're just that type of person.
Like naturally, I like to be a positive person because like practically everything is so negative. Like people like to talk negative like most of the time.
Hmm. Hmm.
So whenever I feature in the newspaper, I always like to put something positive, like something to inspire you or a
Right,
fellow wrestler.
right. Okay. Now, you work at a gym in KwaZulu-Natal, that's correct.
Yes, I do.
So you post a lot of yourself, doing farmers walks and doing the gym workouts and things like that. What is your favorite exercise?
I would say my favorite exercise is doing squats or deadlift. You know, those compound exercises.
Right. Okay. Okay. And what is what is your record in terms of what you're picking up?
Okay, my max deadlift I ever picked up is like 240.
Okay. Okay.
And regarding squats, I like did like 200, 210 around that range.
Okay. You are currently the WAWSA Champions of War Arnold Classic champion. Tell me about that entire weekend, because the tournament happened over one day and it was kind of like a hurricane meets a tornado meets a whirlwind, just of that day
Actually,
of what
2 days,
happened.
if you remember.
Sorry?
You remember it happened over 2 days.
Yes. All right. So tell us about those 2 days because we got a lot of wrestling into those 2 days.
5 matches within the space of 2 days. That
Right. And
was quite difficult.
yeah, you wrestled some of the top talent that was on show, not only at the event, but in South Africa in general. What was the one match that stood out for you in that entire show?
I would say reaching the final with the Exterminator.
Hmm.
The late Exterminator is actually a very established guy. He's a monster in the ring. You
Okay.
was in the ring with him.
Yeah. I was. The it was an inter it was an interesting balance between the two of you because both of you use a variation of the spear. I don't know if you've speared him and he speared you, but who do you think had the better maneuver, the better spear?
Okay, personally, like I don't like to flatter myself, but the Exterminator always like complimented me on my spear,
Hmm.
even though we both had the same finishing moves. Like at Wrestle Monster 5,
Yeah,
and the same year where I became the Arnold's champion, I actually met the Exterminator in a fatal four-way capture the flag match.
yeah. Okay.
And he actually gave me a signature move, which is the X5.
Right. Okay. Now he of course has passed on. Do you look at that now as a badge of honor that he's endorsed you to carry on that move in his name?
I would say that because he was actually very happy that I used the same maneuver as
Mhm.
him in the first place.
Okay.
And he's such a humble person in the back whenever it came to wrestling.
Okay. Okay. I get that. Now, your we can we use humble beginnings, or do we need to use a better term for that? Because your childhood wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't easy at all. Even
Okay.
getting to wrestling was very hard
Hmm.
initially
Okay. Tell us
because
about it.
there was no schools around here, but in the KZN.
Yeah.
But when I was a teenager, whenever there was a wrestling show happening in my area, I'm always there to pitch up, help set up the arena, meet the guys in the back, and get to know the industry from the back to the front, like setting up the ring, how exactly you put up a wrestling ring.
Hmm.
I was actually a teenager when I was putting up rings.
Okay. Do you think today's wrestlers, when they start out, they don't really do that? They don't really set up the ring, carry the bags, tie the shoes, the paying your dues part of it. Do you think that's a bit of a lost art in professional wrestling?
I would say that actually a part of your discipline to actually able to put up the ring and take down the ring, no matter who you are.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what I've learned when I was a teenager. You're never greater than the next person. You're just another talent in the ring.
Right. After the break, we are going to be talking to Joshua the Bull about general fitness. You're a professional wrestler, you've got to look the part and things like that. But now we're going to talk a bit about what exercises are prevalent to keeping up your ring fitness. And then we're going to talk about some of the shows that he's done, some of the crowds that he's been in front of, and one or two other questions. So after the break, we'll return with Joshua. Stay tuned. Welcome back. On Zoom with us, all the way from Chatsworth in Durban, is Joshua the Bull. He's the current WAWSA Arnold's Champion of War trophy holder. Josh, before the break, we were talking about fitness goals and fitness in general, and we're talking about professional wrestling as well. As a professional wrestler, can you give us three exercises that a professional wrestler should have in his repertoire at all times to maintain his core fitness, his strength, and his stamina?
Okay, you're actually putting them on the spot right there because you actually have weight training where you have to spend time in the weight room to actually develop your physique and your functional training.
Right.
And then there's the cardiovascular part of your training where your physical fitness actually plays a big role in this. As I believe, as a professional wrestler, you have to be physically fit at all times.
Hmm.
Because just remember, when you're in the ring, you are bound to get gassed out one way or another.
Right.
And especially when I wrestled like places like in Johannesburg, higher altitude.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where my stamina comes into play because, biologically, the oxygen level is very low in that region.
Yeah.
So compared to me staying in the coast, I actually have to adapt in a major way.
Okay. Okay. Now, in terms of what exercises would be like the ones that you got to have in your locker at all times, can you give us three that you would say, okay, listen, before I do any other training, these are the three things that I must do for wrestling?
Okay, specifically for wrestling, I would say
Specifically.
like, yeah, spend time on the treadmill if you have to, or do some cross-functional training,
Hmm.
which actually like cross training, which tests your stamina at all times.
Right.
Because stamina plays a huge role in wrestling. Anything that will actually improve your stamina, I would say.
Okay.
And
Right.
of course, weight training. You have to take care of your body.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's the, that's the main goal because your body is actually your asset.
I get that. I get that. And in terms of, okay, we do a lot of body slams and suplexes and a lot of core strengthening. You need to have your core really, really strong as well. Um, how would you break down your typical training week?
Okay, like to answer your question, I actually change my routine all the time
Okay.
because after a certain period of time, your body actually gets used to like a certain type of training.
Right, right,
Like if you're doing like bench press, like the first exercise on chest day, your body's actually programmed and gonna know what you're actually gonna do. So you have to change it all the time.
right.
Regarding your core, you have to have a powerful core.
Hmm.
And there is a lot of exercise that can strengthen your core, like doing exercises like planks, deadlift also engages your core big
Right,
time.
right.
I believe you have to do deadlift as well.
Okay, okay. Now, nutrition plays just as big a part of all of this as training does. What does your typical meal look like for a day?
Okay, my breakfast is oats and eggs mixed together.
Right.
A bowl of oats. Sometimes I'll crack a raw egg and I'll mix it together and eat it like that.
All right. Okay.
It actually gives it flavor.
Wow. Oats and eggs. Wow. I know. No. Okay. All right. I'll stick to my oats one side and my egg one side. Okay. Mid-morning snack.
Or sometimes I'll have like a protein bar
Hmm.
or rice and chicken, rice and fish, or rice and steak. That's my typical
Okay.
meal.
Lunchtime.
Okay, I'm training around midday, so what I actually do is my pre-workout meal is basically like steak and rice or chicken and rice.
Hmm.
I'll have a banana, and then that should like keep me energized for a while.
Right. Right. In terms of supplements, supplements is always a tricky one because there's so much out there, and everybody's giving you so much advice on, what supplements go where, what you need to do and things like that. What supplements ideally do you take?
What I personally take is creatine.
Hmm.
It actually it's a health supplement. It actually helps with your body's bodily function and helps with like thinking, help with like like short burst energy,
Right, right.
things like that.
Okay, okay.
It
Um,
actually prevents muscle breakdown and slow down muscle fatigue.
right.
And that is one of the primary ingredients in all your pre-workouts.
Okay, okay. Do you recommend having a pre-workout?
As I said, the primary ingredient is creatine,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it depends on the person because like sometimes guys come late from work and they're really tired.
Hmm.
But the main thing I'll recommend for training is actually your protein
Right.
because your body has to recover from your workout.
Okay, okay.
Because energy now, you can struggle, you do whatever while you're training. While your recovery, your nutrition is actually very important.
Right. Okay.
So I'll actually emphasize on the point of your protein.
Okay. Okay. Now, I this question I ask a lot of people this question because it's so contentious. Is it better to train in the morning, midday like you training, or in the evening?
Okay, to answer your question, Donovan, remember every guy has their own goals and their own schedule
Hmm.
because not everybody can make it in the morning or in the night or during the day where some guys are working during that time. But if you want to drop more body fat, I will suggest training in the morning where your metabolic rate is actually at its highest.
Okay.
Or if you want to train in the evening to build more muscle mass, because what happens, your body is consuming calories and nutrition throughout the day.
Okay.
But your goals is actually like regulated by your calorie intake. If you want to shred body fat or if you want to build muscle mass, you have to calculate your macros and whatever you're consuming
Hmm. Hmm.
and see whether it's in your range or what.
All right. Okay. Because I always struggled to train in the morning. I never had energy in the morning. I'm not a morning person, and I find that my peak training time is between, I would say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon and about 6 o'clock in the evening. That was when I had the most energy. That was when my peak optimal training time was that time during the week. So, man, anybody that trains in the morning, I really do give you props for it because I could never do it. I could never get used to it. And quite frankly, I'm not that type of person to train in the mornings. That's beyond me. Just could never do it. Could never do it. After the
That's
break,
what you
ladies.
prefer.
Well, it's a personal thing. It's a personal thing because I'm not a morning person at all. You've been on many wrestling tours with me, and man, just don't talk to me before 9 o'clock, man. Josh, after the break, we're going to be talking now wrestling. We're going to be getting into your wrestling history, some of your likes and dislikes and things like that. And we're gonna ask you, some wrestling questions. After the break, we're going to speak to Joshua about actual wrestling. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. I hope you've been enjoying it. Joshua has given us a lot of information in terms of wrestling, in terms of wrestling training, and information about getting the right exercise, the right time, and some of the good stuff into your body. Josh, I want to ask you now wrestling related questions. Let's talk wrestling for a minute. Who would you like to wrestle? Okay, let's put it this way. You could book your dream match, any wrestler from any time period, anywhere in the world. Who would you like to wrestle and why?
I would say The Undertaker because that is a guy who inspired me to actually do wrestling,
Okay.
but he must be in his prime.
Okay. So we're talking about 90, 98, 99 Undertaker, round about there.
Let's just say around there. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Was it the way he moved in the ring, or was it his aura, or was it the music? What about him attracted you to that persona?
Okay, he had a very long entrance, number one. So it took him a while to get in the ring. So what it actually did, is actually grabbed the attention of the audience
Right.
like no other.
Okay.
And and whenever he used to get out, the crowd used to get excited for him.
Hmm.
I would say, through the TV, I was getting excited seeing the Undertaker.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
would see him doing his choke slam, his tombstone.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you WrestleMania's coming up now, in a few months' time. Okay, well, let's leave WrestleMania. Let's focus on Wrestle Monster 7 that's happening at the Splash Festival on the 18th of April. What is your goal for Wrestle Monster 7?
Okay, my current goal is to actually do better than Wrestle Monster 6.
Right. Okay.
That's what I'm actually currently aiming for. And to wrestle better than Wrestle Monster 6. Everything, I feel I do it much better than the previous years.
Okay.
And and I'm aiming to have a better physique than the previous years.
Hmm.
Like every year, it has to be like something better than the previous years, because remember, the crowd is watching every year, so they're expecting something else.
I get you. I get you. Now, directly after that's happening the 18th of April. And then directly after that, we have got um, May Mayhem and the Arnold Classic Champions of War. If you were to win your match at Wrestle Monster 7, do you think it is now time for you to challenge Mr. Wrestling for that WAWSA Heavyweight Championship? Or do you think it's time that you are given a shot against TJ Tremor and the All Africa champion for the All Africa Championship?
And that's a very tough question, because both are two talented guys.
Right.
As with TJ Tremor, he went to England.
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
wrestled like over 50 matches in 3 months. And the second time he wrestled James Storm, the
Right.
cowboy.
Yeah.
And he improved quite a lot since I've seen him here before going overseas.
Okay. Okay. Do
And
you,
as for Mr. Wrestling,
mhm.
that guy wrestled around the world, as you know.
Yeah.
Wrestled guys like Carlito, Bobby Lashley, Marcus Burke from Canada,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's a natural draw card wherever he goes.
Do you think you're ready for the step up? Because I mean, you've been wrestling now for 10 years plus, but you've never had a chance
15 years.
to how many?
15 years.
There we go. But you've never had an opportunity to challenge for any of those titles. Do you think you're ready?
Yes, I am ready to challenge
Okay.
for those championship.
Right, right. So would you would you say that this Wrestle Monster now is probably the most important singular event of your career to get to Mayhem and Champions of War and say to management, right, I won my matches now. I've held that trophy for a while now. It's time to pull the trigger. Let's go.
I would say that's actually a platform going for something bigger,
Yeah,
because remember, I wrestled against 5 opponents in within the space of 2 days
right,
at
right.
the Champions Award tournament. That was quite difficult.
Yeah, I get you.
You remember being in that tournament.
Yeah, yeah, I was there. I remember. Okay. Okay. Well,
And I
Josh.
conquered guys like the Exterminator
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Well, Josh, we we wish you luck, but not too much luck, because at the same time, I've also got ideas of my own and plans of my own, and I want to get my own momentum going and things like that. But I can tell you this: we are looking forward to seeing you at Wrestle Monster 7. We look forward to seeing you defend that Arnold trophy at Champions of War. And we're looking forward to seeing you growing, not just physically, but in your social media, in the ring, and eventually holding one of those championships. Guys, we are out of time, but if you want to follow Joshua on all his social medias, Joshua the Bull on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Man, you can go all over social media and you will be able to see Joshua there at any time. Read the articles that he's got up there. And man, we look forward to following your journey. Josh, thank you very much for being with us on the show.
thank you so much, Donovan, for having me on your show.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. From the Loudmouth and Joshua the Bull, we thank you for being with us. Loudmouth presents Off the Top Rope, uncensored, uncut, and raw. See you next week.